Let's talk about a wild idea. What if the most powerful weapon against terrorism and banditry in Nigeria isn't a gun, but a bank transfer? Today, we're diving into a fascinating and pretty convincing argument that an economic policy, not a military one, might just hold the key to Nigeria's security.
I mean, this is the question on everyone's mind, right? Every single year, the defense budget gets bigger, but the headlines about insecurity just seem to get worse and worse. There's this huge disconnect between what we're doing and the results we're getting. So today, we're going to explore why. For years, the conventional wisdom has been super simple. Nigeria is under-policed. So what's the solution? Recruit more soldiers, more police officers, more security agents. It's the same playbook every government has followed. But what if that playbook is just flat out wrong? And this quote, this is really the key that unlocks the whole problem. Think of it like pouring more water into a leaky bucket. It doesn't actually help. More boots on the ground doesn't do a thing if the system itself is designed to reward the very corruption and crime you're supposed to be fighting. All right, so let's really dig into this. Why is this strategy failing so badly? Why can't new, honest, well-intentioned recruits actually fix this broken system? And this is what that broken system looks like in the real world. These aren't just abstract ideas. A new recruit gets dropped into a world of illegal roadblocks set up just to extort money, all the way to absolutely shocking allegations of officials literally renting their own firearms out to criminals. The system isn't just broken, it's practically designed to corrupt people. Okay, so if just adding more people isn't the answer, we have to look deeper. We need to figure out what's really fueling this whole engine of insecurity. What keeps it all going? And there it is. This is the central idea. It's so simple, but so powerful. It completely reframes the problem. The issue isn't just about the number of criminals. It's about the one resource that makes all of their work possible: physical, untraceable cash. So let's just follow the money for a second, or, well, the cash. It's a vicious cycle. It starts with kidnappers who can demand ransom in cash because it can't be traced. That cash then makes armed robbery profitable since there are physical targets. From there, it fuels corruption, with officials hoarding bags of illicit money that no one can track. And of course, it makes everyday bribery easy because there's no digital trail. It's one long chain, and cash is every single link. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, that's a nice theory, but is there any proof? Well, as it turns out, Nigeria accidentally ran a massive nationwide experiment back in early 2023, and the results were, frankly, shocking. You probably remember it. The central bank, under President Buhari, suddenly redesigned the currency and put these incredibly strict limits on how much cash anyone could withdraw. It was chaotic, for sure, but it also created this unintentional security laboratory. And the results? I mean, just look at this. They were absolutely staggering. Kidnapping for ransom went from being rampant to basically stopping overnight. Highway robbery, which was common, plummeted. Even police extortion at roadblocks largely disappeared. Why? It's simple. There was no cash to steal or extort. For a few short weeks, a single economic policy did what years of military spending couldn't. But let's be real. The policy caused immense hardship for everyday people, and the political blowback was huge. So it was reversed. And the second cash started flowing back into the system, kidnapping, banditry, extortion, it all came back with a vengeance, proving that direct link. So, of course, the big question is, why on earth would we try that again? It was a nightmare. And that's a totally fair point. The argument, though, is that Nigeria today is in a very, very different place than it was back in 2023. Just take a look at this. The digital landscape has absolutely transformed. We've seen massive growth in the number of banking agents and POS terminals reaching way deeper into communities. Rural internet is getting better, thanks to things like Starlink, and the core payment systems themselves have been seriously upgraded. The groundwork for a much smoother transition is already there. And listen, this isn't just about fancy apps for people in Lagos. We're talking about the basics. Almost everyone has a mobile phone now. We have USSD payments, which let you send money from a basic phone with no internet. The core NIBIS payment system is actually one of the best in the world. And we have over 220 million BVN and NIN records to verify identity. The tools are literally already in people's hands. Okay, but this is the most important question, right? The human question. What about the elderly, the uneducated, or folks in deep rural areas who depend on cash because it's all they've ever known? It's a huge and valid concern. And the source material here has a pretty stark response. The fact is, the entire country, digitally literate or not, is already suffering under the tyranny of insecurity. So the argument becomes, we can't let the challenge of digital education be an excuse for doing nothing. Instead, we have to treat digital literacy like the national security emergency that it is.
So, with that foundation laid and the big objections addressed, what would a smart, well-planned path forward actually look like? How do you really starve the system of its oxygen? Well, the proposed path isn't just one thing. It's a whole package. You reintroduce cash limits, but this time with the digital backup to support people. Critically, you make the government lead by example. 100% of government payments go digital. That's a direct hit on corruption. You pair that with a huge investment in digital literacy, and you change the law so that huge cash transactions are automatically suspicious. It's a full-court press.
And this brings us right back to the core idea. This isn't about technology for technology's sake. The strategic goal is simple: cut off the fuel supply. If you take away untraceable physical cash, you choke the operations of both the bandit in the bush and the corrupt official in the city.
Ultimately, the entire argument boils down to this one powerful thought. For more than a decade, the country has been fighting the fire, the symptoms of insecurity, and not getting very far. Maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop fighting the fire and instead just take away its oxygen.